Hi everyone, it's Mario Vegas and welcome back to the Tank Zone. Video games that involve tank simulation date back to the times when fast video games were created, with pretty much every video game developer involved in this process. Talking about that, inevitably you will be dragged into nostalgia about exciting hours spent in front of your television screen playing your favorite and beloved console game. Regarding options to play these games today, there are still a few quite easy ways to find and play these games. Subscribe now, cause we will talk and look at this topic in next episode. But today let's use GameSpot rating to go through the best retro tank games released before year 2000 that have a player average score 7 or above. Number 30, Battlezone. Battlezone is an arcade game created by Atari and released in 1980. It is a predecessor of modern 3D fast-person shooters using vector graphics. It was very popular and was ported to many platforms including DOS, ZX Spectrum, Commodore 64, Atari ST and many others. Gameplay takes place on a flat plane with a mountainous horizon and various indestructible geometrical solids like pyramids and blocks that can be used as a cover. The action surrounds the player in all directions, forcing the player to locate the enemy tanks and missiles using the radar system at the top of the screen and destroy them. Number 29, Armored Fist 2. Armored Fist 2 was developed and released in 1997 by Novalogic for MS-DOS. It is a tank simulator and strategy game with over 50 missions in Europe, Asia, Africa and Middle East. Objectives to eliminate enemy vehicles, destroy buildings and installations. In your disposal you have a variety of ammunition and minimap. Number 28, Super Battletank and Super Battletank 2. Super Battletank War in a Gulf is a 1992 tank simulator single-player video game which takes place during Operation Desert Storm, where the player controls the M1 Abrams main battle tank. Super Battletank 2 was released for the Super NES in 1994. The player battles helicopter gunships, T-72s and Scud launchers to achieve the victory. Number 27, Panzer Command. Panzer Command is a computer tank driving simulator released in 1998, developed by Ultimatum and published by Strategic Simulation. The game is a World War II tank simulator. There are over 20 tanks and 28 support vehicles, 10 scenarios for each nation and 6 campaigns, 3 German and 3 Russian campaigns. The game also offers direct 3D acceleration and expansive scenario editor and multiplayer mode for up to 6 players over the LAN or internet. Number 26, Vindicators. Game released by Atari Games in 1988. The player controls the tank, which constantly draining fuel, and you must navigate through the multiple levels, encountering obstacles and enemies. Along the way, the player may find power-ups like tank fuels, stars, shields and weapons. Each level has a key that will open the door to the next level. Number 25, BattleTanx. BattleTanx is a 1998 action game produced by the 3DO company for the Nintendo 64 and Game Boy Color platforms. The game was followed by BattleTanx Global Assault that was released in 1999. There are 3 tanks in the game for player to choose from and 70 levels to complete in order to finish a single-player game. In the game's multiplayer mode, players can battle with up to 4 players simultaneously. There are 4 different multiplayer configurations like Capture a Flag, Deathmatch, Family Mode and Annihilation. Number 24, Steel Reagan. Steel Reagan is a Video game released in 1997-1998. It was developed and published by Sony Computer Entertainment for PlayStation. Player mission is to eliminate enemy vehicles, destroy buildings and installations. Number 23, Battle Command. Battle Command is a futuristic 3D tank simulator game released by Ocean in 1990 for Amstrad CPC, Atari ST, Commodore 64, Amiga, MS-DOS and Sinclair Spectrum. It is a simple arcade game where the player takes control of an assault tank in a series of combat missions against other armored vehicles and stationary targets. Number 22, Mass Destruction. Mass Destruction is a third-person action game developed by NMS Software and released in 1997 for a Sega Saturn, MS-DOS and PlayStation. Mass Destruction is a single-player game where the player controls a tank which is viewed from an overhead perspective and undertakes various missions in which the objective is to destroy a specific object while avoiding being destroyed by enemy forces. Number 21, Iron Tank, The Invasion of Normandy. It is a top-view action shooting game made by SNK for Nintendo Entertainment System in 1988. The game starts with the tanks landing on the beach, then advancing forward and fighting various enemies that include soldiers, tanks of various types and fixed guns. Number 20, Panzer Elite. Game was developed by Wing Simulation for Microsoft Windows platform and was first published in 1999. Panzer Elite is World War II tank simulation game in which the player controls a platoon of 4 or 5 tanks on either the German side or American side. Number 19. Robot Tank. Robot Tank is a 1983 video game for the Atari 2600 platform. The player remotely controls a tank using a radar to find and destroy enemy robot tanks that are organized into squadrons of 12 tanks. Number 18. Battle City. It is a multi-directional shooter video game published in 1985 by NAMCO for Family Computer, Game Boy, Arcade, X1, FM7 and MZ1500 platforms. The player controls a tank, shoots projectiles and must destroy all enemy tanks on the field. 20 enemy tanks enter from the top of the screen and attempt to destroy the player base as well as a player's tank. Number 17. M1 Tank Platoon. M1 Tank Platoon is a tactical simulator of tank warfare developed and published by Microprose for Commodore, Amiga, Atari ST and MS-DOS in 1989. The game features the mixture of first-person tank shooter and tactical simulation gameplay. The player can give orders to friendly units via tactical map of the battle area as well as taking control of a single tank. The game can be played as a first-person action simulation game or as a strategic tactical game, depending on the user's choice. Number 16. Firepower. Firepower is a two-player third-person tank shooter game created by Silent Software for Amiga platform and released in 1987, and there are also Apple IIgs, MS-DOS and Commodore 64 versions. In this game, two tanks have to compete on the field and try to destroy enemy stronghold. Number 15. Tank Force. Tank Force is a multi-directional shooter arcade game developed and published in Japan by NAMCO in 1991. The gameplay is very much like that of Battle Battalion, except that this time up to 2 or 4 players can play simultaneously. There are 7 new types of enemy tanks and there are 15 types of power-ups, and every 4 rounds there is a boss. Number 14. Hover Tank 3D. Tank 3D was published by Softdisk in 1991 for DOS system. The player must drive Tank through the levels and try to find and rescue people from the maze. There are also enemies in form of different creatures that are hunting down the people as well as the player itself. Number 13. Scorched Tanks. It is an artillery-style game released for Amiga platform in 1994. Game is designed for 2 or 4 human and computer-controlled opponents, each to control one stationary tank in a two-dimensional playfield of randomly generated mountainous terrain. The aim of the game is to destroy the other tanks by indirect arc fire. Number 12. Return Fire and Return Fire 2. Return Fire is a 1995 video game developed by Silent Software. Return Fire 2 was released in 1998. Return Fire has 4 specialized vehicles, each one with unique abilities. Each vehicle carry a limited amount of fuel and ammo and have a different level of durability. Game goal is to eliminate enemy tanks. Number 11. Cosmotank. Cosmotank is a video game published by Asuka Technologies and developed by Altus. It was released in 1990 for a Game Boy. Most of the game is programmed as a 2D shooter with some levels resembling a 3D shooter video game. The player controls an armored fighting vehicle either in first person or third person, and game has 3 modes. In training mode, the player practices in closed training area. In a quest mode, the objective of the game is to destroy alien life cores of 5 planets. In versus mode, the game link cable is used to allow 2 players to race to defeat the alien leader fast. Number 10. Desert Fox. Desert Fox is a 1985 video game developed by Sydney Development Corporation and published by Accolade for Commodore 64 and Amstrad CPC platforms. The game combines strategy and first-person shooter. On the game map, player can choose their next moves and objectives to complete. After that, player is moved to the actual field of the battle, where the main aim is to destroy enemy tanks and the planes. Number 9. Steel Thunder. Steel Thunder was published in 1988 by Accolade and simulates modern armored combat. Player's mission is to find and destroy enemy vehicles. Number 8. Steel Panthers. Steel Panthers is a 1995 computer wargame developed and published by Strategic Simulations. It simulates ground warfare during World War II across Western Front, Eastern Front and Pacific Theater. The player controls tanks, artillery and platoons on a hexagon map, and it is possible to fight against a computer or another human opponent. Number 7. Arctic Fox. Arctic Fox is a science fiction tank simulation video game developed by Dynamics and published by Electronic Arts in 1986. Arctic Fox is one of the first 3D games ever created for the Amiga. It puts the player in a cockpit of futuristic tank on the alien world covered by snow. The player must pilot this tank into enemy territory with the goal of knocking out alien bases. Number 6. Panzer Front. Panzer Front is a World War II tank simulation game first released in 1999 in Japan by Enterbrine for a PlayStation and Dreamcast game consoles. Players perform a role of a tank commander during a war using one of the 6 tanks. Battles are fought on various maps based on actual historical campaigns. During the game, player can engage the enemy while calling in artillery if they're available, and reinforcements are also available in some missions if allied tanks are lost. Number 5. Steel Panthers 2 Modern Battles. Steel Panthers 2 Modern Battles is a 1996 computer wargame developed and published by Strategic Simulations. It is continuation of the Steel Panthers series that we looked at previously, so let's jump forward. Number 4. Steel Panthers 3 Brigade Command 1939-1999. This game is a 1997 computer wargame developed and published by Strategic Simulations. As you may notice, it is a third game in Steel Panthers series. Steel Panthers 3 is a wargame that simulates combat scenarios around the world between 1939 and 1999. The game covers 6 primary conflicts such as North African campaign and Vietnam War across 40 different scenarios, and the map editor enables the player to create custom scenarios as well. Number 3. Team Yankee. Team Yankee is a computer wargame by Oxford Digital Enterprise for Amiga, Atari ST, MS-DOS and Commodore CDTV platforms. It was published in 1990 by Empire Software. Game is mixture of real-time strategy game and simulation game with a 3D environment. The player is able to use several Cold War era tanks and other armored vehicles. Number 2. Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth is an artillery video game. It was released for MS-DOS in 1991. Players control tanks to do turn-based battle in two-dimensional terrain, adjusting the angle and power of each tank turret before each shot. And we are finally here at the top of our list. But before getting to the number 1 game on our top, how about you share your opinion writing in comments which one is your favorite retro tank game? Which one is not mentioned here but maybe must be between these games we looked at today? If you agree or disagree about anything mentioned in this top, go ahead and write that in the comments. I guess that will be very valuable for all of us. And if you like this video, do not forget to press the like button and subscribe, and if you wish you can share it as well. So here it is, number 1 retro game, released before 2000 and with highest player average score on GameSpot between all tank games that we mentioned today. Number 1. War in a Gulf. War in a Gulf is the third game in the tank combat series, following from Team Yankee mentioned before. The game imagines the fictional situation in which Iraq invades Kuwait for a second time. The player commands the platoon of 16 tanks presented on a screen split in 4 pieces. Each piece is a command center for 4 units. The player must control the tanks by moving them and shooting on the arcade screen and planning their moves on the tactical screen. And that is it, guys, for today. If you like this video, buff it with a like. Have something to say, go ahead and comment. I wish you good luck in gaming, good health, peace, and I will see you in the next episode.